still can't believe this. And say 100 likes and I will Project GTR. And how is it going? You can probably tell it's been a very long time since I've been able to give an update on the R33, and there's a few reasons for that. Some of them are a little bit easier to explain and some of them are a little bit harder to explain. Well, as you guys just saw, we actually did go over to Halo, where they do have the R33 at the moment. They're doing a few little like touch-ups of certain things, and they're going to be putting basically the whole car back together, but the brand new headlights that my brother has got coming in, and pretty much, yeah, that's it. After this last trip to Halo with the car, it should pretty much look like a brand new vehicle. But kind of since the last update, which was that the car was going off for mapping, I've just got my laptop out real quick, and these are some of the things that my brother's forwarded on to me to say these are the things that he wants me to speak about. There is more I could speak about with regards to the car and everything, but these are the only bits, okay? So keep that in mind. Crank pulley was rubbing against the block. Had to get a spacer installed, maybe a short nose crank on the car, and the only way to really check now is to take apart the engine and take the crank out, and that's too expensive of the extra thing to add on, so that's not getting changed for the time being. And plus, the way my brother's going to drive the car, it's not going to really drive it extremely aggressively on a regular basis. So hopefully, if it is a short nose crank, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. The trigger kit, now recommended to have a tooth removed to help with mapping. This is potentially because it lets the ECU know where the top dead center is, and helps with the crank rotation. He has a cam and crank trigger kit and had to remove crank pulley to get access, so that's another thing there. Seal around the oil pump was leaking and had to be replaced, and this was done at the same time the crank tooth was basically getting work done to it and stuff like that. So yeah, all removed before the pulley fitted back on. There was a small coolant leak on the back of the engine which had to get investigated. The mapping was done at JM. They did some of the wiring and stuff like that as well. Won't go into too much about that. There is still a little bit of work still to be done. My brother does have a drive-by-wire kit, and so there's a little bit of mapping work that's still needed in that sense. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. And I know with that list of things, you might be thinking that's really interesting because the engine was fully rebuilt, and it was rebuilt. Again, fingers crossed everything goes well with the engine and stuff like that, but there's certain things that have happened. As you guys saw from a previous video, when the engine was dropped off, there were certain bits missing and certain bits loose, and that was definitely not how it was supposed to be. And then these extra issues and stuff like that, these were all things that should have been noticed and should have been at least slightly picked up on previously. One of those things, ideally, would have been good to have been told if you had a short nose or a long nose crank, because I think with the way my brother's build was going, if he knew that it was a short nose crank, then he would have opted to get a long nose crank most likely. And yeah, so there's still a little bit of work to get done with the engine, a little bit of fine tuning with the mapping that needs to be done and the wiring and stuff, but the bulk of that has been finished. And as you guys saw, the car does start and it does run, although it runs very rich at the time being. That's pretty much the main updates in regards to the engine and the mapping and the running of the car. So pretty much we're at a good point, right? Now that it's at Halo, there should be a little bit of light under the end of the tunnel, which is that this should pretty much be the last big drop off for anything to do with the car, apart from maybe another session with mapping that the car has anything to do with going to another place apart from Steve's, because he does have brand new headlights coming for the car, and that should be here later on this year. So this is getting pretty close to a final point, and I think the best way to put it is it's very exciting but also very surreal. It's crazy that we're coming to this point where this project is pretty much coming to an end and it's starting to become a real car again, which it hasn't really been for quite some time. So you guys have all seen the build transformation so far, and yeah, we're pretty much at the end, and I kind of want to see what does everyone think in the car dynoed at the moment, and yeah, be interesting to see that in the comments down below. There's already a few videos and stuff like that on my brother's social media. Don't go cheating and checking it all out and everything. Watch it here. The little bit of sadness is the fact that it does need to go for mapping again. But I need you guys' help basically, which is when my brother's car is going to be finished, we are going to look at doing a little bit of a collection video, etc. You know, finally going over to see the car. So that leaves me with the question of what do I do in terms of going there? Do I take my R33 GTR? Because it doesn't look that pretty right now. So my brother's car is going to look all brand new, and this is going to end up looking like that. So what I kind of was hoping to hear from you guys was, do you think I should try to prep this car's bodywork before that? And if so, I kind of need a little bit of encouragement for it, because as you guys know, I get a lot of views on my ambient lighting and stuff like that, and I'm pretty busy with all of that. But I really want to start finishing off my own personal projects and all these kind of things. So I think let's set the standard, let's set the bar a little bit low. And I was going to say 100 likes for this video, but how about we go for 32? Anything more than 32 and we'll get the 32 ready. Repair the exterior on this car before collection of my brother's car, and his car is due to be collected in the next few months. I think the headlights and stuff like that should be around like April, May potentially. So it's right around the corner, and obviously bodywork takes a long time, plus you got work and all the other commitments and stuff. So it's interesting, and I think it'll be quite a nice little fun challenge to set for myself, a personal goal to get my car a little bit more ready for when my brother's car gets picked up. So yeah, what do you all think of that idea? Another really cool thing that happened whilst we were over there was where Halo is, right opposite from them is a BMW showroom, and they had the brand new BMW M4 CSL heritage car. So I managed to get a few little snaps around that car and looking around it. It's an interesting car. It's cool that it's a heritage car and stuff like that, but I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know. You know what? Could be worse, it could be better. I think it was really cool seeing that car and, you know, being around it and stuff, and such a rare car as well. It's one of very few in the UK. But what was kind of interesting for me was just, you know what? I can't seem to love the brand new design that BMW have gone forward with, especially the M2. I don't know. And I don't love the interior dashboard, and I found it quite interesting how the M4 CSL doesn't have the full digital dash, considering it's a brand new car. I know these cars get into development beforehand, but surely it wouldn't have been that hard to put the new dash in, but they left it as an old style with the cluster and the screen and not the full cluster screen. So yeah, I found that interesting, and yeah, I've got really big mixed feelings about modern cars and the way they're getting designed and stuff like that. I do love my old school cars, but yeah, I don't know how much I love the way BMW are going with their car design at the moment. You guys know my F90 M5, which is in the background here. That's looking, that to me is one of the best, most recent designed cars from BMW. So very happy and proud to be able to say I own that car. To recap this video, GTR does run. It doesn't run perfectly happy, does need a little bit of TLC in terms of the engine and stuff like that. Bodywork is getting done pretty soon. You guys need to get me to 100 likes to be able to respray this and get it ready for my brother's collection time as well. And leave in the comments down below if you want to know more about it. I am tempted to do a full breakdown of everything my brother has purchased for his Skyline, and kind of discussing everything. I think that would be super interesting for those that just want to know everything about car builds and kind of run through it all, because it's a long list and there's been a huge amount that's gone into it, more than I would ever have been bothered to attempt to keep a track of. So I'm glad my brother's pretty much kept a track of most of it. I don't know if it's all of it, but most of it. And yeah, right, time to end the video here. Like, subscribe, leave comments, all those usual stuff, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Bye.